Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting. This is Tuesday, September 11th, 2018. If I could ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, wait a minute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we discuss the agenda, I would like to say a few words. Today we mark the 17th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, a day that shook America to its core. We stood together in shock and in horror as the realization of what had just happened to us hit us. And we wondered, how would we go on? And then we saw a glimmer of hope rising through the ashes. It was our flag, flying in the wind, letting us know that we will go on. And we saw the courage of the human spirit as we pulled together, letting the world know that the United States of America is united, invincible, and cannot be broken. We will never forget where we were that day, and we will never let history forget September 11th, 2001. In memory of the almost 3,000 lives lost that day, I ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, any amendments to the agenda?
Madam Chair, members of the board, good evening. If there isn't objection, I would respectfully ask for an amendment number 3 under the town clerk's report. The third item being the recount of the 3rd congressional race. The town clerk would like to give a brief update to the board on that.
So moved.
Seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. All right, got 2 announcements here. Any other agendas? Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thanks. Okay, the agenda has been approved. Got a little ahead of myself, sorry. As part of the town's budget preparation and outreach for fiscal year 2020, the town will be hosting Municipal Taxation and Budgeting 101 at the Ayer Library on September 25th at 7 p.m. This educational forum will serve as a general overview of how the town sets the tax rates and how the budget process is managed. All are welcome to attend, and I highly recommend people attending because it is a lot of information. And also, the Ayer Shirley Regional School District is hosting a public forum on the Ayer Shirley Regional High School Athletic Field Complex on Thursday, September 20th, 2018. There will be a tour of the current athletic fields at 6 p.m. and a presentation at 7 p.m. on field facts and taxpayer impact. The forum will be held at the Ayer Shirley Regional High School fields and the LGI room at the high school. All are welcome to attend. And again, I recommend that as many people attend as possible. All right. Do we have anyone here under public input? Step forward.
Right here?
Yep. And please state your name. And
Yes. So my name is Margaret Bussey, and I'm running for state senate. And just wanted to come say hello to the Ayer Selectmen and the other town staff and introduce myself. I live in Acton, and I've spent 8 years in town government in Acton, doing 4 years on the planning board and then leading the Acton 2020 committee, which was a master planning committee, and then 4 years on the finance committee, which I chaired as well. So I love municipal government, and I love that you're doing a session on how the budget process works, because it is municipal finance is definitely its own beast, and I enjoyed learning that, and looking forward to being able to represent this district and with a real focus on building strong communities and sustaining those, and making sure that we're supporting and sustaining excellent schools, and making sure that we have great jobs and access to great jobs for everyone in the district. So that's really my focus, and thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you very much for attending, and good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Robert, we have a Conservation Committee appointment.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the Board of Selectmen, if there
Oh,
isn't...
I'm sorry. Is there anybody else here for public
Oh, yeah.
input? I'm so not used to having anybody for public
Take
input.
a deep breath.
All right. Now you can go, Robert.
Madam Chair, if there isn't objection, I would ask Mr. Mark Phillips to come up before the Board of Selectmen. As the Board of Selectmen are aware, recently Mr. Bill Daniels, a longtime member of the Conservation Commission and chairman, resigned from the commission as he will be moving westward in the state, and I just want to thank Bill for his many years of service. Upon his resignation, the Conservation Commission did outreach as far as potential individuals interested in the position. Mr. Phillips sought out the commission, attended a meeting of the commission, as you have his credentials in the packet, and it's my recommendation on behalf of the Conservation Commission to recommend him for appointment to fill that vacancy. And he's before you if the board has any questions.
Well, first, I just got to say that it was quite an earthquake when I heard that Bill Daniels had resigned, and that's quite the loss, and we thank him very, very much for his service to this town. So, but we're looking forward to a new face being on the Conservation Commission. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Resident of Ayer now for about 2 years, and had gotten involved with the Conservation Commission just from public input based on the new bylaw that was being put together. Interested in the process and putting in some input, trying to help mold that bylaw, help draft it and put it before the board. And a lot of the issues that are going on with the Conservation Commission are, again, interesting to me as an engineer by trade. I enjoy the planning aspect and things like that. And so when Jessica reached out and indicated that the position was open, expressed interest. I had told them earlier on, months before, that I was interested in helping with the bylaw, and so I figured, I'd step in and try doing some public service for the town and try and provide some good input.
Sounds great. Any questions?
How long is the appointment for? When does Bill's position or old position expire?
I believe it's a year and a half.
Year and a half?
If I remember correctly, when George told me it finishes
So
off a year
just
and
long
a half.
enough to get your feet wet and decide if it's...
Sounds like it, yes.
2020.
Excellent.
I think Bill had just renewed last year.
I think so.
All right,
Yeah.
excellent.
that sounds
All right.
Yes, Madam Chair, it would be till 2020.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And I know that we have a good recommendation from you, for you. So I know the Conservation Commission is behind it. So, okay.
I don't have any other questions.
I have no other questions.
I will make a motion to appoint Mark Phillips to Conservation Commission for the term expiring in 2020.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
All right. Susan, our town clerk, come on down. Good evening, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
Good. We don't see you often at this table. With us.
No, that's okay. So, do you want me to go? Okay. So tonight, originally, I was coming because I have two vacancies, or we have two vacancies on the Board of Registrars. One was unexpectedly with the passing of Pauline Hamill, and she represented the Democratic Party. And also, excuse me, at the time of appointment to reappoint, Robert Hammond had stepped down after many years of serving on the Board of Registrars to open it up for someone else as well. He was also a member Democratic Party. So the process is I send a letter to the Democratic Committee in the town, And they reach out to fill those positions because we have to have a balance, an equal balance of the two primary parties. And so we came up with two folks that are very interested and excited to serve. And the timing couldn't be better that we're getting this done. So I wrote a letter recommending for first Miss Carolyn McCreary, who is a registered Democrat with our town. She will be serving the remaining term for Miss Hamill, which is to expire in 2019. And then at that time, Ms. Creary would continue on, seeking appointment. And secondly, Ms. Kathleen O'Connor is also a registered Democrat in our town. She will be stepping into the term for Mr. Hammond, and that would run until June of 2021. And my third registrar, Barbara Wilson, wasn't able to be here tonight. She represents the Republican Party. She's actually heading out on a road trip to the Grand Canyon. So, and it's particularly interesting that this is completed tonight because I have posted, which will segue into the next part, for the recount for the 3rd Congressional District. And a recount is run by the Board of Registrars, and I need a quorum to perform the recount. So with them being appointed this evening by the board, and they are sworn into office, we are able to complete the recount we've scheduled on Monday. So, but we'll go back to step 1, and I respectfully request that both Ms. McCreary and Ms. O'Connor are appointed to the positions that we have the vacancies for.
All right. I will make a motion. Oh, sorry, do you have any questions?
I was just asking you, did you ever?
No. I will make a motion to appoint Ms. Carolyn McCreary to the Board of Registrars for the term ending 6/30/2019.
Seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
I will make a motion to appoint Ms. Kathleen O'Connor to the Board of Registrars for the term ending June 30th, 2021.
Seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. And both people are appointed. Congratulations.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And on to, we'll call it 1A. For anyone following along, we did complete the state primary last Tuesday. We had a great turnout. It was a steady flow of voters all day, so it was a very positive day for the town, and we completed, and I woke up Wednesday morning to phone calls from the Secretary of State's office of the Commonwealth stating that there would be potentially a recount. So the 3rd Congressional District, previously Nikki Tsongas was our representative, and she was not seeking re-election. So it opened up, we had a large Democratic ballot for that office. And 2 candidates came very close, Daniel Coe and Lori Trahan. And because the ballot count was so close, it was less than 0.5%, they've called the recount. So that officially was called yesterday. I'm trying to keep my days straight. Yesterday. So it has to be completed by September 17th, which is next Monday. And I spent today getting everything straightened out, so we are going to be doing our recount here at the Great Hall Monday the 17th, 9 a.m. right upstairs. And we've been in touch with council. I have made all the postings legally with the state, and so everything's set and ready to go for Monday at 9 a.m. And we'll just do our recount, and with whatever observers, it will be petitioned off. And the general public is welcome to come and observe. There are observing areas, but just like an election, especially in a recount, there is no interaction with any election workers from the general public. And that will be enforced by the constable, and the police will be stopping in as well. The state is taking this very seriously. So again, you can welcome the public to observe, but there is zero conversation or discussion at all during the recount, so we can make sure it's done swiftly and everything's completed on our account. And that's really all I have to say. I don't know if anybody has any questions or concerns or...
No, good luck to you.
Thank you. It's going better, knock on wood, than I thought. It is my first official recount. I've assisted other clerks in other towns and cities with recounts, thankfully, so I'm not completely blind stepping into it, but it is still, we'll get it done.
Yeah.
We'll be just fine.
All right.
So, yeah. So that's that on that. And then the next item is a special election has been called from the Ayer Shirley Regional School District. And they have, sorry, my next folder. They have called an election, and we received their signed warrant and so forth. It's in regards to the field project, the Ayer Shirley Regional School District field project. So it's a 2-ballot process for, and it's a Saturday, October 6th. It's a very important piece. Saturday, October 6th, 2018, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The election will run concurrent with Shirley. The Shirley town will be running a special election same day, same time at their polling location. Ours will be right here upstairs in the Great Hall. And it is a 2-ballot process. The first ballot that we do have in warrant is from the school district. It's a yes or no ballot. It's a question ballot to authorize the borrowing of the costs for the designing, constructing, and equipping of a new athletic complex, etc. I don't have to read the entire thing. The second part of the ballot is the town's end. And that is how we're going to pay for the election or the project. So it's 2 separate ballots, one for the school, one for the town. We have ordered 2 separate colors, one for the school, one for the town, to help voters. They aren't different by precinct, which is good. So we have 2 colors of the ballots. And what will happen is when the voters come in, they need to check in twice. So they need to exercise some patience with checking in with the first clipboard and receiving their first ballot, check in with the second clipboard, receive their second ballot, vote, and then you will then check out again, one clipboard, second clipboard, and then you will put your ballot into the ballot machine and the box. So it's a little bit of an extra step. Again, my election team is ready. I have a full crew and extras to help accommodate, to kind of help with the process, but we can only speed it as best as we can. It needs to be run smoothly and correctly. So we just all need to exercise some patience in checking in twice, checking out twice, and so forth. So I have the election warrants today for the town ballot question that I ask for you to sign for that piece. I speak on the election, like I said, the ballot process, the voting process. I don't speak necessarily on the questions or the information on the questions. So we did notate that they're having a forum, I don't want to say the wrong word, forum, the school to further explain the field project. Thanks. The public forum, that is Thursday, September 20th. And they're all members of the school committees in town to explain the impacts in every aspect, most importantly, the financial impact. But my office is not giving any guidance or direction on that. I can simply explain the ballot and the process we're going to follow on Election Day. I do have samples, and I will have absentees starting tomorrow morning available. So absentee ballots, I know it's running into a holiday weekend, and it's a Saturday. But we will have absentee ballots for both ballots, for the town and the school. So I know there's been a few questions whether or not that was an option. It's an option any election. And they are in-house, and they've been proofed, and I'm ready tomorrow for those that want to request them. And the final note, the last day to register, it's a very tight window. The last day to register for this particular election is this Friday. I will be here till 8 o'clock for voter registration, so that's another point that we're trying to get out there as well, because it's a very tight window. But that's what I have on my aspect, and I present the warrant to be signed so that we can post it.
So, quick question.
Yep.
So, just to clarify, so because there's two ballots, is
Mm-hmm.
because the town of Ayer and Shirley will both be answering the same school question.
Correct.
But the funding question is different, which is why there's the two pieces of paper, basically. the two
Right,
ballots.
so the school question, and what happens is that is a combination of the two towns. So it has to be an agreement of yes and no. So we're going to combine our ballot numbers and Shirley's, and it's the district that decides if it's yes or no. So we have to tally our votes, Shirley tallies theirs, and then we combine for a total for the school project. And then the second piece for the town of Ayer is the debt exclusion, which is how are we going to pay for it. That is also a two-step process in and of itself, where we need a ballot approval. So that's what we're doing today. And then it will be at the special town meeting in October as an article item, because it also needs approval on the town meeting floor. So it's like two-part. And Shirley is doing the same as well. But that doesn't, how they decide to utilize their funds and how we utilize our funds are two different. That's different. We don't have to agree on that. We just have to agree on approving the project for the school district. So,
And then,
Madam Chair, and just to add on to what Ms. Copeland said, just so for the public's benefit, and again, my office as well, we're not providing any information as to how people should vote. That'd be completely improper. What we are going to provide upon the board's approval of calling the election is information just explaining the ballots, as well as we have verified, which the board has, we have verified the district's numbers on the Ayer's tax impact, and those numbers that the board has, those numbers will be the numbers used, and we will begin to, so people ask, what is this going to cost? There's that information there. That being said, just so the two ballot process, the key is also that the first ballot for the project, that ballot passes, as Ms. Copeland mentioned, the town is obligated, both Ayer and Shirley, to fund it. It was the recommendation that the debt exclusion be done as Ayer's method to fund it, and Shirley's doing the same.
okay.
Thank you.
And absentee ballots for the October 6th will be available tomorrow.
8 a.m.
And when is the last day that somebody can pick up an absentee ballot?
Thank you. Friday, October 5th
Okay,
at noon. The cutoff is noon time.
okay.
Yep.
And they would also have to return it right
So
then. Well, yeah, you would, never
no.
mind. I'm not used to absentee ballots.
So absentee ballots, the last day to request is noon time on Friday, October 5th. The last day to receive the absentee ballots is actually at the closing of the polls at 4 p.m. on Saturday.
Okay,
So if it's mailed to somebody and they get it, and they can bring it in if someone isn't able to. But yeah, so as long as we receive it by 4 p.m. and we're able to count it
okay,
in, yeah.
okay.
So anything that is received in our office after 4 p.m. on Saturday or postmarked after Saturday would not be valid towards the count.
So if you received it on Monday, but it was postmarked on Saturday,
I can receive it.
you can still count. Okay,
Yeah,
all right. Well, actually, you wouldn't do it on that Monday because it's a holiday. Okay. And
I would
then-
come in.
But with the post office.
Oh, yeah, I need them.
And the last day to register to vote for the October 6th election is this Friday,
Correct.
and by close of business on Friday.
8 PM. I have to stay open till 8 PM on Friday
Okay,
for voter registration.
okay, so till 8 PM on
I'll be
Friday
here.
is the last day to register for the October 6th.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Ooh, I just see. All right. So this is just the warrant to authorize the election for the 6th of October, which is a Saturday, here at the Great Hall, and it would be between the hours of 8 AM and 4 PM. Do I need to read the whole warrant? Probably. In the packet. I'll read the whole warrant. I don't know why I'm talking to myself. It's a very quiet crowd tonight. So it's the Town of Ayer, Massachusetts Special Town Election, October 6, 2018 warrant. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Middlesex County. To any constable of the Town of Ayer, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth, aforesaid, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town, qualified to vote in town affairs, to assemble in the Great Hall, second floor of the Town Hall, at 1 Main Street on Saturday, the 6th of October, 2018, between the hours of 8 AM and 4 PM, then and there to cast their votes on one ballot for the following question. Shall the Town of Ayer be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2 1/2, so-called, the amounts required to pay the town's applicable share of the bond issued by the Ayer Shirley Regional School District for the purpose of paying costs of designing, constructing, and originally equipping a new athletic field complex to be located at 141 Washington Street, Ayer, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto. Simple yes or no. And you will serve this warrant by posting true and attested copies in 3 or more public places, one of which shall be the Town Hall, 7 days at least before the time appointed for said election. Hereof fail not and make due return of this warrant with your doings thereon to one of the selectmen on or before the date of the election, and it will be signed today, given under our hands this 11th day of September 2018 by the Board of Selectmen, if approved. So,
I'll make a motion to approve the October 6, 2018 special election warrant.
seconded? All in favor? Scott?
Aye.
The chair says aye. Okay, congratulations. There is an election on Saturday, October 6th, from 8 AM to 4 PM here at the Great Hall in the Town Hall.
You didn't have a lot going on this fall, did you?
No, it was actually, I was looking for some extra
Just
work.
more.
Yes, so I'm really jazzed. I just want on the record, jazzed. Thank you.
Yeah, Chris will be down here sometime.
I think you have a question.
Oh, yes, Dan?
Not a question, but a comment. So Mr. DeForge, who is the chair of the Ayer Shirley Regional School Committee, planned to be here this evening, but he ended up having a first communion class for his son. He sends his thanks and regards and appreciates the time that the board put in for allowing the votes to go forward. So thanks from our chair.
You're welcome. Okay. Is it too soon to then remind people about the November election, or should we wait?
The November election is when there's questions there, or the other questions. Okay,
Okay.
good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
How much caffeine has she had today?
All right. So we have a sewer abatement request from 16 Gardner Lane.
Hi.
Hi. If you could state your name.
Oh, Vanessa Amaya. So I live at 16 Garden Lane with my fiance, Corey Rufo.
Okay. And
Basically, we ended up, we've been here for 3 years, and we ended up getting one of our bills that was extremely high. So we ended up calling the city just to discuss it, which the person that answered the phone, the lady, said, yeah, that is extremely high. And they said they were going to do an investigation on it. So they ended up sending some people from the water department to check the meter and so forth. So a gentleman, Tim, that works for the department, ended up showing up and just double checking there was no toilets leaking, nothing leaking, anything like that. So they weren't able to figure out what was going on. We have a pool, so they did question me about the pool, and I said, no, we have a company that got deliver the pool. So actually, I ended up calling the delivery company while Tim was there. So they actually spoke to me and him while we were on a speakerphone and letting him know the delivery. So he was writing, things down. After that occurred, basically we ended up putting an appeal, and we got a denial by the superintendent, Michael Welzer. So we actually appealed that decision, and that's where it brings me here today.
Okay.
So the abatement that I'm having is that I'm being charged for 6,866 cubic feet, which is 51,000 gallons of water, saying that it was basically to the sewer when we haven't had that. And my fiance has been away during that period of time, to military training, so it's me and a 3-year-old home. So it kind of just, things don't make sense. And we basically trying to abate the sewage, at least $560 for that. So every month we've been catching up and paying. We've been calling, it's been a year. We've been calling every time, and we've been told that, it's going to be a couple of weeks before decisions be made. And then after so forth and so forth, I've been explained that actually my file hasn't even been looked at. So it's been just kind of like a, back and forth situation until we are here now. So it's just,
Okay.
so. I don't know if you have the papers, or my understanding is that you guys had all the bills. And
Right.
some of them were unique.
We don't have all the bills. Do we?
Okay.
No, we just have your letter and then
His letter
Mr.
and
Wetzel's
abatements.
reply.
Right, so I have all the water bills from since last year. I brought everything with me,
Uh-huh.
because I don't know what was needed. And as well as the first initial letter, as well as the second letter after the appeal. I mean, we have, this was in July, and one was in January.
Yep.
12th.
We have the January one,
Yeah,
and then we have
And the original first one that
Mark's
was-
January letter.
January 8th, correct.
Right.
And then the first one we had to, when we called, they told us we had to submit a letter. So that's what we did after Tim came
Okay.
and viewed them.
And this started when again?
This happened everything's been consistent, but the reading for April 7, 2017
Okay.
was the reading that came up to 6,166 usage, which is basically being charged for both in and out. So after going back and forth, we accommodate and say, okay, we'll pay for the fine delivery if we're getting charged for that, but we're not going to pay for sewage because we didn't dispose of any water of that amount. Do you see? So that's kind of like, we were told that we were going to get a new meter, they were going to put in a meter or test it out, we were going to be charged $50. I was willing to do that, but I guess my understanding, the superintendent decided to, just submit that letter and decided not to go forward with that. So I'm not sure as to where it went to, but after calling and repetitive phone calls, I finally received a letter in January.
Okay.
So I respectfully just asked for that to be withdrawn, just because it's not something that we did, so.
Okay.
And the meter was inspected, correct? And
At
it was
home.
just that one, yeah.
Yeah,
at the house.
yeah.
So it was just that 1 month or one reading that
Right.
spiked.
Yeah. So mostly everything is consistent between 1,500 usage to 1,093, so all within that range. So that was extremely alarming. And again, I was the one home alone with the baby, so that's kind of makes it more,
Okay.
not like I forgot to leave the shower on overnight or anything, so.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Scott?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you're asking for an abatement of the $560.66 sewage?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
The assumption is it leaked out just out of the system somewhere, so it didn't actually come back in to the sewage portion, back to the town. Is that correct?
I'm not sure what you're asking, I'm sorry.
It didn't actually come back through the sewage system, it just went to the house and went somewhere.
Well,
That's the
to be honest,
assumption.
we don't even think that 201 was ours, the $200 for that, because again, I feel like because I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like they're probably thinking it was from the pool, because that's the only thing that was done during that month. But we had we provided the proof of the delivery. So it just kind of doesn't make sense, because we don't have the sprinklers on, we don't have any of that stuff on, so it didn't it doesn't add up. We just also, since we purchased a home, we replaced everything. We have new toilets, new shower, everything. So we've done like great improvements to the home. So it just, normally if you see a leak, you would know right away of something. And like Tim said, the meter would show that if there was a toilet leak. And because if you read the letter that Mark wrote, Mark says it's a possible type of leak on excessive water usage, such as a running toilet. So it kind of doesn't make any sense. Cause
You had heard of running toilets.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you hear water running in the house, especially
Yeah.
when you're teenagers at home.
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, personally, I'm fine with the sewer abatement of $560.66. And I'll make a motion to that point to grant the abatement of $560.66 to 16 Gardner Lane.
Seconded? All in favor? Scott?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. You have your abatement.
All right, thank you. Have
Thanks.
a great night. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mark?
All right, let's see. So I have 3 items. The first item is a 1-year contract amendment for our paving contractor. We're about to get going on a paving project, and so we needed, the way the original contract was bid was it was 1 year with 2 1-year extensions. So this is the last 1-year extension for the contract. So this is, it's a unit price contract because we're never sure when we bid it what streets we're going to do. It's based on how much money we have in our Chapter 90 account. So it's a unit price. So we carry those unit prices over. And it's, so this is for this fiscal year 19 for execution by the chair.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the 1-year contract amendment with PJ Albert for fiscal year 2019.
Okay, seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Okay.
We can go this way if it's easier.
Oh, okay. It was just
It's
her,
fine.
so that's why.
It's just me.
Just her that has to sign it.
Okay, next, Mark?
And then I had a discussion item here. I just wanted to mention this, but I, between the time that I put it on the agenda, I spoke with the fire chief. We're getting closer from Mass DOT letting us bid the West Main Street Bridge. And at the last meeting, we were talking about the right now, the way it's designed is that we would have to maintain 1 lane of traffic at all times because there's not really any other way on West Main Street. But one of the options that would save significant time and money is if they could close West Main Street. And so I was thinking if we did it during the summer months when school wasn't an issue and most people could go around through McPherson, it's a little bit of an inconvenience, but it would save probably about $200,000 to $250,000 and probably about 2 months of time. But talking to the fire chief, he needs to have access to that end of town. I was hoping that he could have Devon's or Shirley cover that end, but he's not comfortable doing that. So one of the options we'll look at is if they can provide some sort of a temporary bridge on Shirley Street as one of the options, but we would put that in the bid. But I just wanted to get it, before I talked to the chief, I wanted to throw that idea out and see what the board thought. But I think it's kind of a moot point now. We need to keep some form of access. If we do go with something temporary on Shirley Street, it would probably just be for vehicles that couldn't get under the McPherson Bridge or when McPherson Road is closed. It wouldn't be for general traffic through the neighborhood.
For 2 meetings tonight?
And then the other thing that I just wanted to bring up, because it is a little quick, and I'm just putting everything together for the, I wanted to make a change for town meeting with our street opening and driveway access bylaw. So right now, our bylaw is about 10 pages long, and it gets into a lot of details that don't really belong in a bylaw. For instance, it tells what type of pipe you use for your drain, which is outdated. It has fees in it, which are outdated. It tells how you compact the dirt around the pipe, which isn't really necessary in a bylaw. So generally, what I'm proposing is that it would be a very simple bylaw that states who requires a permit, how the fees are set for the permit, how the permit is obtained, and that it has to comply with the road opening and driveway permits as well as the subdivision requirements. So basically, I have a draft. I need to check a few things, but it's basically about 1 page as opposed to 10 pages. So I just wanted to see if the selectmen agreed with that concept before we drafted up the warrant article for it to change that bylaw.
Oh, I'm a firm believer that a bylaw should be concise, to the point, and cohesive and comprehensive. So if making it smaller versus, how many pages did you say?
Well, I have like a little over a page versus 10 pages.
Exactly, versus 10 pages. I mean, a 10-page bylaw, by then you're dizzy.
And then my regulation, right now the draft is 15 pages. So that's the more detailed, that's the regulations easy to update. And so that's what I'm proposing. I just wanted to see if you agreed with that concept.
I agree. Madam Chair, through you, Mark, and you're looking in this bylaw also to adjust the fees, correct?
We would, some fees may be mandatory or statutory. I think the trench opening permit is a statutory fee.
Yeah.
But we would probably even have a fee schedule. So for instance, if someone's paving their driveway, we probably wouldn't raise the fee much. But if National Grid is laying a water main, then we would charge them an inspection fee as well as a road opening fee. So we'll put together a schedule that's up to date and fair. And then again, the schedule of fees would be approved by the selectmen.
Right. That sounds good.
One last thing, Madam Chair, through you. Mr. Superintendent, if you know, we've gotten inquiries where tidal wave is, there's some trees that were removed. Do you know why those trees have been removed? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but, okay.
No, I think that was the tree warden did that.
Okay.
And I think they were removing the stumps.
Okay. I saw it.
Yesterday or today, they were doing the stumps, yeah.
So I don't know what the reason was. So.
I think it was good.
Mark, quick question before you go. Can you give us a quick update on just the drinking water? Because I know that
Sure.
over the last few weeks there's been a few things posted.
So we've had quite a challenge over the last 8 months with our drinking water. As you know, back in February, we have a contamination from a perfluorinated alkaline substance they call PFAS that has contaminated one of our wells at Grove Pond, and that comes from Devon's. So we're working with Devon's on trying to find the source, but I don't think finding the source is really going to change anything. It's not going to get the chemical out of the water. So at town meeting, we voted $4.2 million to build a water treatment plant, but we were required to take that well offline. So that's well 8 is offline. In order to make up for the difference, we put well 1 online. And just as an example, we're allowed, or we have these what are called secondary standards, which are aesthetic standards in water that affect the taste and odor and laundry. Well 1 has 5 parts of iron in it, and the state recommended limit is 0.3. So it's a little.
What would that do to people? If
it'll taste bad. Their water will be orange. But we do have an iron removal
have
plant.
orange dishes.
So we do have
I've had
an
orange
iron
dishes for a while
removal
now.
plant. But what happened was where we went from a well that had not that much iron and manganese in it to one that had, and the manganese was the same level as the iron. So what it did was it stressed our treatment plant. So we had to change a lot of our chemicals and how we operated the plant. So then what happens based on that is it changes the equilibrium of the water. So the water quality in the system, it's not quite as good as it normally was. So now, and all your pipes have some kind of sediment and growth in the pipes. Now you're changing your chemical composition in the pipes, and that stuff starts softening up and getting in your water. So that's why we had an increase in dirty water complaints, was because the equilibrium changes, so the stuff starts coming off the pipe. The water coming out of the plant's still pretty good. It's still not quite as good as we would want it to be. And then with the hot weather, we had we test for bacteria at 20 locations throughout the town every month. We had a positive total coliform count up at the end of Washington Street, which is, it wasn't at the hospital, but it was the medical building before the hospital. And then and total coliform is not bad. Escherichia coliform, or E. coli, is bad. So we had a positive total coliform, but a negative E. coli. So what the state wants you to do is keep sampling until it goes away. And so what do we do to get it to go away? Is we keep adding more chlorine to the system and keep pushing it up to the end of the system. So we had to crank our chlorine up. Usually we run around a 0.2 or a 0.3 milligram per liter. It was over a part when we solved the problem. So that took about 10 days before we actually got a positive, clean sample back. Everything's clean right now. We took, because of the weather starting to cool down, we took that bad well offline, and we have a company coming in next week to rejuvenate our filters because it got so plugged up from putting in so much iron. So company's coming in next week. They're going to do some cleaning of the filters for us. But it's kind of a day-to-day challenge with the higher demands, with the stress on the existing wells and the stress on the plant. But we also at town meeting voted to put a mixing system in the water tank, so that would keep the water mixed up. The way it works now is we've got 1.5 million gallons up on the top of Page Hilltop School behind there. So the last water in is the first water out. So the top 1 million gallons doesn't go anywhere. So we're putting in a mixing system that will also have a chlorine system. So that'll keep that tank mixing. We can add chlorine if we need to, and to rechlorinate the water. So and we have a dive inspection scheduled for the tank. So they'll go in and make sure it's nice and clean, and there's no issues. So we're working hard to get this done. We on the PFAS issue, I think at the last meeting I gave you an update. We completed the pilot testing, so now we know what process we're using. They're preparing the report to submit to the state, but we're moving ahead with the design on that. So everything's moving. It was a challenging summer.
Yeah. Thank you.
So.
Just a quick question. Obviously, you guys are doing a lot more work because of the well being done. Are we recording, is this stuff that we're keeping track of? So when we,
to a certain extent, I've been keeping a cost of the lab, extra lab testing and some overtime, and we actually submitted that to the EPA.
Okay.
EPA asked us if I had an idea of what this whole process had cost us to date, which I think was about $75,000 to date, and how much it's going to cost to solve the problem, and I came up with $9 million. So that's what we're looking for, a check from the Department of Defense for about $9 million. So
they can deliver that to Town Hall any day.
Yeah.
We're open.
And through the chair, as the board is aware, because you had the letter, the EPA is on the side of the town.
Yeah,
The
yeah, absolutely.
regional administrator, it's the Army we're working with.
And the Army isn't not on our side.
Right.
They just say, well, we don't really have any appropriation that
From
we,
Congress.
that says we can pay for this. If we were an Army base, they could, but we're not an Army base. And I told them, when they said, Devon's has a similar problem, and Devon says, well, we have Army base on Devon's that we serve. And I told the guy from DOD, I said, if you pay for Devon's treatment but don't pay for ours, I'm going to cut off every road from Ayer into Devon's, and no one's going to be able to get there.
Took a page
I
out
like
of the
it.
book.
That is
Do it. Oh my God,
Fantastic.
do it. Do
So,
it. It's the
anyway,
only way. It's the only way to get through the
We're
DOD.
we're working hard on this project, and
No, we know you are.
we're
and,
trying to make sure everybody
Unfortunate, but
everybody
thank you.
understands what the issues are, and we put out updates. Actually, I sent a letter to the DEP just explaining some of the challenges that we're having, and bear with us. So they're very understanding too. So,
Great.
all right, great.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Mark. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Mark.
Madam Chair, would anybody object to that light turning off? I got a massive migraine, and it's just like catching. There we go. Is that okay for everybody?
That's fine.
All right, thank
The
you.
one time I didn't feel like I was
I was
under
wondering, 'cause
interrogation.
usually you're all over that.
I know. Some nights it's like you're being interrogated around
It was a
here.
headache from being upstairs.
Okay, Mart. Come on down. Grab an extra chair.
Good evening.
Good evening. So before you get started, first I'd like to say thank you very much for bringing some visual aids, okay? And second, I'm going to ask the big question. Has the request for proposal been reposted?
Not yet, we are working on it.
Okay, I got to ask you, we last met with you August 14th, okay? That was 4 weeks ago. The board was notified probably the week before that, at least, I didn't double check my dates, that the bids didn't go too well, which probably means that the week before that, you knew, and it just took a week for us to be notified. So at least 6 weeks ago, we knew things weren't good. So what's taking so long?
Bruno going to explain.
So are we talking about a rebid of the project?
Yeah.
RFP, so it's IFP, but at any rate. So.
RFB, RFP, it's the same thing, request for.
Invitations for bid, so I will circulate this one, actually, I don't need to use it, I'll just keep them going, I guess. So, I'm trying to get one around, I guess that, Chris, but at any rate. So what I've done here is, and really the bidding schedule is on the second page, the proposed new bidding schedule, to try to make this successful.
Thank you.
To try to make this a successful second bid, but so in talking with Robert and Carly, I mean, they had asked me to kind of bring a lot of information back for this meeting, and I was not at the August meeting, I was actually on vacation.
It's probably a good thing. It wasn't a good meeting.
As I hear.
For Mark.
I do understand the frustration, and, so I kind of have tried to outline here what we're trying to do to get this second bid for the project to be successful. So with that said, I know there was some questions about remaining funds and all that, so that's right in that first section there. So the original funding was a little over $4 million. That was a combination of that 3.2 of federal the earmark funds that originally was for Littleton and came to Ayer still many years ago. Up to date, there's about $410,000 in expenditures, and another $142,000 that's under contract. So the remaining original, from that original $4 million is a little under 3.485. In the meantime, last year we had requested from Mass DOT some additional funds, and they gave us $300,000, which is a combination of mostly federal. This 5339 is what they call bus and bus facilities, but it's pretty wide array of use you can use it for, and 60,000 federal. So, and 60,000 state match. And so we now have just a little under 3.8. And so what we're looking to do is, so these federal funds that Mark gets, they're used for, some of it for running buses and some of it for capital, a major portion of it to run the transit operation, but again, we use a portion of it to do capital projects. We're going to put some of federal fiscal 19 and some of federal fiscal 20 in to make whatever we need to meet the required bidding funds for this project. So, and again, not knowing, hopefully it's going to come in significantly less the second time around. So kind of going into that second section, we kind of called around after the first bid to find out kind of what happened. So we did reach out to both general contractors that did submit bid. One was $6 million, $6.5 million. One was almost pretty close to $8 million. So they were roughly 52% over and 86% over respectively. So they didn't really provide a lot of info, kind of just in general, stated what everybody else stated, which was really in number 2 there, which is we talked to 9 other general contractors, and for the most part, a lot of them said essentially the same thing, which I've outlined for you there in that section A, 1 through 5. What they said was that there was an awful lot of soil data there. From previous testing and whatever, and it was twice as much soil characterization data as there was specifications for the project. So a lot of people just were like, they didn't have the time, so they just kind of set the whole project aside.
So that's on the engineers?
Yes. The GCs also indicated, from a construction perspective, that's the busiest time of year, not the time they're looking to do projects and get projects moving and done, as opposed to bidding on them. So a lot of them said, we pulled the bid plans, but didn't really, we didn't spend enough time to put in a bid. Several of them, though, did indicate, this was actually 3 or 4 of them indicated that the site itself, the boundaries of the site, it's a very long, thin site. And so what they're saying is that there's a significant amount of soil that does have to be removed out of there. And what they're basically saying is that it's so constrained that, you've got to dig it up, pile it up, it's got to be tested to make sure it can be taken off site. And like in the meantime, you're trying to, move, so you're trying to dig in one spot, try to do foundations in another spot, and just all that moving around is very expensive. And same thing happens as you try to start erect things, you still got stuff you've got to move around and position your equipment. So they basically said, that in and of itself is expensive because you're moving stuff sometimes more than once, and you're kind of resequencing materials and work to be performed because you can't be where you want to be because there may be piles of soil. So, and we've actually got in the section after this, we've got a plan how to solve that. They also indicated Depot Square itself, so it kind of was melded into the first project. They indicated that really wasn't all that helpful. It's a small project. You can't really use the same resources as for equipment because you can't exactly just it's not like the same site where you can drive equipment. You've got to transfer it to the other site. It's different forces and different disciplines. So they said, frankly, you may be better off just bidding that as a separate standalone project. So that way, whoever gets that is not trying to move equipment and people and forces back and forth. And then obviously the timing of it was that if they started when we would have issued a contract, give or take around September, they would have had significant winter conditions. So, whether they're putting up masonry or just doing work, it's just not the optimal time, and you pay more as a premium for winter conditions, less productivity and all that. So that was kind of the general feedback we got from all the contractors we called, and we kind of encapsulated that into, here's what probably we don't want to look at doing in the second round. So in follow-up to that, we met with all the internal air departments. So at least we met with the town engineer, we met with Mark Wetzel, the DPW director, Robert and Carly, and so we had a pretty good meeting about what do we want to try to do to move this project forward, and we want to try to be successful in the second round here, and gave them a lot of ideas, which are again encapsulated in this third section down below, as to what we think will help make this a successful project on the second bid. We did do multiple conference calls with Weston and Sampson and ourselves. We also did multiple conference calls with an environmental consultant about the soil and just understanding the nature of the soil and what has to be done with it. Essentially, because it was all this testing done in the past, there really isn't anything, it's not hazardous material or anything, they just got to characterize it as to where it can go. So it's just going to be tested, and within a couple of days they say, here, take these 4,000 tons to wherever. But it still has to be characterized. And so we got a very good understanding from that gentleman what we need to do. And then we also met with Weston and Sampson on September 5th last week to go over, let them know our displeasure with the original bid, how it didn't go very well, what we thought went wrong, what we thought on their end, probably was not very well thought out. In the meantime, I had meant to indicate it here, and I guess I think I by a keystroke probably wiped it out. I also requested them to replace the project manager on the job with a more senior person. The individual, well, I think she's very well intentioned, just not enough time, I think, doing the work.
This is Weston and Sampson?
Yeah.
The ones that had the plans for 18 months? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they're, we requested them, and actually he agreed, and so he's replaced them with a person who's been there, actually at Weston and Sampson for, I gather, somewhere around 25 years or so. Rick Campbell, by the way, I don't know if you know Rick, but so he's the individual that's going to be heading up the project now. So, and so he was one of the individuals we met. We also met with their structural people and kind of their civil people down there that came into the meeting. Kind of, so it was a pretty good meeting of, here's what we need to do to get this project out for the second time and make sure it's successful. So going into section 3, so one thing we're doing is we've actually been working the past week or so with Dan, and I will not try to pronounce his last name, and Mark Wetzel, we're going to actually bid out the water, sewer, and drainage at Depot Square, and that will actually be being released tomorrow by Mark. And so we've actually, I believe, either from Dan or Mark, we've got a list of contractors you usually send it out to. We've got a pretty big list of other contractors that we use from time to time for these type of civil projects. So make sure we get a good release of the documents or whatever. But we figure this can probably be done within the next probably 4 to 5 weeks. We have to get it, out and bid it and advertise it and all that. But essentially, it's not. I mean, there's not a lot of. I mean, in and of itself, this is not a big civil engineering project or civil construction project. It's some sewer, some drainage, basically 2 trenches, and then the various basins they need to catch stormwater and all that in order to fix or at least resolve the easement or the agreement you had with the abutter. So that should solve that problem. And again, I think it should be done well before the end of November or whatever the date was for that was indicated in your agreement with the abutter. In the meantime, and what that will do is what they'll do is stub up the water and the sewer in the general area of where that plaza was going to be going, so that again it doesn't have to be the exact location where the bathroom will be dropped. Wherever the bathroom is decided by the town to go, you can just repipe it to that spot. But it'll be there, stubbed up, ready to go, so that when the bathroom gets ready to be put in, it can just be piped right in, and that'll take care
Where
of
the
it.
plaza is going, just
The plaza is going.
Yeah.
Was.
Bathroom's going to stay where we
Yeah,
always said it was
right,
going to
so,
stay.
I mean, they'll just the contractor will just stub it up, and then it can be moved to wherever exactly the building gets set down, and wherever the pipes have to directly come up. But it'll be all set for that. In the meantime, we'll also work with Ayer to procure and install the restroom facility at Depot Square to meet the DCR requirement. That was part of the land transfer. One of the big things we're doing is, so in discussing this with Weston and Sampson, this LSP and the soil consultant, essentially what we figured would be the best approach to this is actually put out an earthwork contract pre-putting this out again for the general bid. That way, basically, because the site's going to come down probably 2.5 feet, and it is from end to end is quite a grade elevation change. So what we plan to do is put out an earthwork contract so that the earthwork contractor comes in. The soil will already be characterized. We're going to have a consultant come in, and basically they do these 500-yard grids where they characterize what the soil is, where it's going to go, and so that way when the earthwork contractor bids the work, they know exactly what they got to do with the soil, and so the idea behind this is that when we get to the general bidder, the general bidding phase, where we're looking for a general contractor, they won't have that problem of all the material that's got to come out of there and moving it all over the site and stockpiling and testing and all that. It'll essentially be down to the grade they need. And then the only excavation they'll have to do is where they do footings and foundations, which will be fairly minimal. Some of that actually could probably be reused back in the backfill, and what isn't will already be characterized for removal by them. But again, there's like I think it was 9,000 tons that has to be removed from the site itself. There'll be nowhere near that in excess material once they get done digging foundations and footings or whatever. So it'd be a fairly minor amount that the GC would be responsible for. But again, that'll help them because the site will already be prepared and ready to go.
And most these soil, they are, we believe it is just a fill, clean fill already added to the site.
Yeah,
when they
looking
do
at
the pavement.
Looking at the testing that was done, I guess when, and again, this is well before my time, but when I guess DCR or whoever created that lot, they actually had to backfill it rather significantly. So there's feet of fill in there, clean fill that they just put in to bring it up to the grade they wanted it to or whatever. So essentially just taking that back out, probably 2.5 feet of that.
Yeah, and they are not suitable for
Right.
foundation.
Yeah, most of it's unsuitable soil, so it's because it's not base foundation type gravel or whatever, it's not suitable to build on, so it's got to be brought down anyway. So, but again, we think by doing that with an earthwork contractor, again, that's all they do is they're just going to have trucks and excavators and bulldozers out there. That work will all be done, and so the G's because on top of that, it'll probably reduce the cost because the earthwork contractor is going to give you a price, his profit margin, whatever. If that's done under the general contractor, of course, he does it for the general contractor, and the general contractor marks his work up and marks that up with an additional profit on the other guy's work. So that should help to reduce the cost on that, and again, significantly reduce the amount of work they're doing on moving things around the site to avoid piles of dirt. And getting to the other part, to the rebid. We plan to time the rebid so that literally as the earthwork contractor finishes up this pre-work, that there won't be any delay on the site. The general contractor, whoever it's awarded to, assuming a successful second bid, will just start immediately after the earthwork is done. And and just talking with a few contractors, they're saying that in and of itself, if you're just hauling it off site, it's probably a few weeks' work at best. It's because they're all just hauling. There's nothing you're doing. They're not constructing anything. It's digging, characterizing it, hauling it, and it's gone. So the idea is to have the general contractor be able to start immediately after the earthwork. So there's not like the site's empty and can't be used and sits there. The thought is for these rebid is to only have the rail trail parking facility and Main Street crossing included in the base bid, to remove Depot Square out of it. Again, that's a lot of the contractors said that just wasn't going to be something that is going to help us out. So we thought that would probably be best to just remove that completely and just only bid out the rail trail facility and the crossing across Main Street, and then work separately on the Depot Square as a separate bid. So again, eliminate the Depot Square design from the base rebid, eliminate all those add alternates that were in there from the base, when we do the base rebid, and then introduce one alternate in the base rebid, add alt, which would be if there's, somebody bids on it, it's within the project funds, then you can award it to them. Would be looking to do the sidewalk, the lead-in sidewalk into the facility, the plaza and the pavement resurfacing with that handicap area that we talked about, identifying over behind the mobile station at Depot Square, as well as working to get some type of commuter shelters over there, and working with Weston and Sampson to propose what things, certainly probably not what we were looking at before, which were very expensive, and I'm not sure terribly good shelters as far as sheltering as much as shade structures, but working to get some options on those, and then working with the town to determine who wants which options would be preferable. And then also what we already started doing is we've already outreached many general contractors, and we plan to outreach for many more. So because again, the last bit, it was kind of, we advertised in the paper, we put it in this state central register, and the like, and then issue it out. This time we're going to actually be calling a lot of local contractors, a lot of general contractors even locally. Again, this is not a large structure, it's only one deck, It's a lot of it's is going to be erected because it's already going to be preformed. Some of the steel, the concrete decks and some of the facades are all concrete. So again, this is not like something where you need somebody building the Freedom Tower to put it up. So we've actually already identified 35 different contractors that we're going to be issuing this to as well. And again, so what we'll do is both the outreach we've done now for the upcoming release, as well as we'll do it just as immediately before we start to do the second bid. We're going to outreach these contractors, let them know when it's being issued, where the plans are available, and all that.
Bruno, real quick.
Sure.
This is actually a little disturbing because it feels to me like you've talked around the fact that we're going to get stuck with Depot Square with some pipes sticking out of the ground and no turnaround, no curbs, none of that. And quite frankly, I would rather have that than this parking facility over there if we had to choose one from the other. So I think that's basically what you just said. We're going to have to find money. Basically, it's going to be the town that has to find the money to do that, which is really what the community wants.
You mean the Depot Square?
Yes.
Well, so at least let you know that FTA's thing is the money can't just be spent just on Depot Square, implement of Depot Square. In order to access the grant, their only real threshold for that when we went back through this, however many years we've been going back and forth, was that you have to have some permanent access to the station. That was their only thing.
Which the town has spent about $1 million.
Right. So they said, do not spend any money on a facility or any parking or anything until you secured access to the station, permanent access to the station. But having said that, if we bid and get Depot Square in place, but we don't have a parking facility, we wouldn't be able to use those federal funds. They won't fund the Depot Square improvement without, the parking was the main part of the grant. That was the main scope of work for the grant. And again, we put some improvements at Depot Square, but we can't improve Depot Square.
No, but you're not disagreeing that.
Oh, no, I agree with you. At the end of the day,
we're going to get the shaft on this, is what you're saying. Depot Square is going to be.
No, that's not what I'm saying. It may end up being.
That's what you're alluding to.
It may end up being that, most of the funds are used for the rail trail facility, which is the primary scope of the project. But whatever, our idea behind this is that whatever is left, we will do as much as we can of Depot Square. It certainly, I don't believe we're going to be able to do the original design for Depot Square.
Depot Square up, the base. Just the
I-
base.
So I guess the question is, and I'm
Thank you.
sorry, Janice, to get off track here, but have we gotten back to the MBTA and their involvement in anything with this? I know they're, big into the new parking lot that's going to go into Littleton, which your son released for next week. But I'm hearing you, and I get it. It's $4 million, $7 million. But basically, we're going to be stuck with a hole in the ground and some pipes sticking up, which will be great to plow around.
No. We will be putting in the bathroom facility for sure. I think that's what I'm alluding to is that, we want to get the Depot Square bathroom. It has to be. DCR.
That's why Mohammed wanted it over at the parking facility at the last meeting, because then you guys would have been able to wash your hands completely at Depot Square. And this board insisted that it be where it should be, in Depot Square. So, it took me a day or so for that to dawn on me why the bathroom Mohammed wanted it over here.
Honestly, never seen a bathroom cause so much problem.
It was able for them to wipe their hands at Depot Square, essentially, and stick us.
It depends on how bad you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So the idea is definitely, again, we know that DCR, one of the requirements of the land transfer was that there has to be the bathroom, comfort facility for rail trail patrons and obviously for the commuter patrons. So we definitely would be putting in the bathroom. I agree with your statement that we probably are going to have limited improvements to Depot Square. Having said that, I think it's going to be significant. We know it's going to be way less of a bid amount this time because, again, I think the big thing they were talking about, many, when they looked at it, they thought it was more of a hazmat cleanup than it was a soil removal job. So I think they way overbid it, not knowing who's responsible for it. If I'm going to get stuck doing this, then I'm going to make sure I've got as much money as I can in the project for that. And again, because again, when we got the initial filed sub-bids in the middle of July, those actually came in about 40% under budget. The budget for the four different categories of files was close to $1 million, $960,000, and it actually came in at 630. So it was actually significantly under. So we thought we were in pretty good shape. I think when it got to the GC, who then looked at, what's going on with the site across the street, and again, I mean, the soil stuff was 1,800 pages, and there was only 700 pages of construction specifications, so there was more than double.
Right, we know.
So again, I think that was probably what turned most of the GCs off. They didn't have time to look at it, they didn't spend time on it, they were in the middle of other projects for the summer, and I think, going out in the winter, there's going to be a lot more activity, because they're looking to get themselves jobs for the spring, get started, with projects that have already been, so. But going back to Depot Square, just to finish my thought, I agree with you that there's going to be less than what the original design was for Depot Square, certainly. I agree with that completely.
Well, is this new rebid schedule going to cause a problem with starting in the spring? The way you just said that.
No, I mean, so the idea is they want to bid stuff over the winter, because they're, most of them aren't working, or they're working on projects much less. So, but they're, that's what we got from talking with Mark, talking with other engineering companies, talking with the contractors. They said, that's when we bid jobs.
Okay.
We don't normally bid them in the summer. So the idea was to try to, and it seemed to make more sense to do this. I kept trying to do it a little bit earlier, but the trouble is, you kept running into holidays. Either a bid date would fall around Christmas or Thanksgiving or New Year's, and you just don't want to have something where you limit the amount of people bidding, because they're not going to work around the holidays. So we figured when we did this, I mean, the first opening is after the first of the year for the filed subs, and then the general contractor is 2 weeks after that, so mid to late January. So this should.
So hopefully we're going to actually get a shovel in the ground in 2019?
Oh, yes.
Not a
It
chance.
took 3 years. Didn't we take Depot Square in 2016?
Yeah. And so basically what we're getting out of this is we're going to have a few more parking spots for the people that commute from other communities, and the citizens of Ayer get the shaft and get a vacant parking lot with a fence that runs down the middle of it. Is basically what we're going to get after 10 years, probably, by the time it's done.
I'm more disturbed that we took the Depot Square in 2016. Here we are going into 2019, and we're hoping to get a shovel in the ground. Robert, did you keep having your hand up?
Madam Chair, through you to the board, to Selectman Hillman's question regarding the MBTA in this here. At Bruno, it's probably safe to say, and Bruno is correct, that the $3.2 million earmark is contingent on the Park Street side as an FTA grant. So assuming that we're successful in the approach that Mart has put forward, as we sit here right now, that's basically what Depot Square would look like if we're successful. Just follow me real quick. So the bathroom building will be there. Per the Board of Selectmen, we have to do the bathroom, and it needs to be in Depot Square. The challenge we have now, I think everybody's frustration, is some of these other images, like the one over Selectman Hood right here. This one, I understand it's conceptual, but when we did all of the public outreach and so forth, it has the shade structures, the bathroom, the landscaping, and so forth. We have this here. Best case scenario with no other money. Now, to Selectman Hillman's question.
Best case scenario.
Best case. We have met with the MBTA and have spoken with the MBTA. We met recently with one of the folks from there out at the platform, which is on the other side, and we explained the conditions over there are a disaster, and we explained that those conditions, when compared with Acton, Littleton, Concord, basically along the entire line, it's a disaster. The main focus was they have this fencing program through Allen, was to get the fencing and the screening on the back of the platform so it will block out all of that disaster behind there. At the same time, we
This
made...
is the same gentleman that took 4 years to get this fence.
Well,
across
we
the
haven't
street.
stopped there, but fair point, but we haven't stopped there. The other piece, when we had them out here, what I'm concerned about, and I've brought up to Martin, I think everybody's concerned about, before we even get to this point, we have to get through the winter of 18/19. And I said to the MBTA, and Ms. Antonellis was there, for example, if they could pave the footprint of the Advocates building, There's questions about lighting, and on this version, I don't see any lighting.
I think this was one of the initial concepts.
Right. But even the interim period that the MBTA, these are all of their customers coming through here on the train, that we need an interim plan to get to this plan so that it's a safe access. I have also asked, and they've done it, Superintendent Wetzel, Mr. Manoy, and some others, I mean, again, internally, but the challenge is the funding, is to look at to what can we do to clean this up in the interim period and make it safe, but also to leave it like that. I understand that if that's what is there, there's going to be a public outcry.
But that won't be what's there, though, and I get your point, but it's going to be asphalt, and there's going to be no green grass, there's going to be, you're going to have your little shed there for your bathroom, and then it's going to be in a black chain link fence that is separating Mr. Berry's property from this. So, to their credit, Bruno and George especially, because you've been to all the meetings and taken all the darts with Mohammed and Bruno, the MBTA needs to send representatives to sit at this table, because Mr. Biggins has made many promises in the past.
I understand.
In discussions that we've had, and Carly, we've all been out there and talked. But it takes forever to follow through. So, I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me, especially when I know, they're about to sign this lease in Littleton for 100 more spots.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
if I could, so following up with our meeting with Kevin Biggins, knowing that we've met with Kevin Biggins several times, I don't think he has the authority to make.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
decisions.
I like Kevin Biggins a lot.
Yeah,
but,
me too, but we need someone that can say yes or no.
Thank you.
So we have a 2-page letter, it's going out tomorrow. We have full-size images of the conditions at the deck, that it's going to the Secretary of Transportation, Stephanie Pollock, and the MBTA manager, Louis Ramirez. We've copied everyone and their mother on the letter. You'll see it go out tomorrow, but that at least gives some.
That's my point.
We're putting it in writing and not just meeting with someone.
And my point was, I don't mean that you guys have, I'm just saying.
No, I understand your frustration, and I
it's
appreciate Carly bringing that up. And we intend this document also to go to the press, because the bottom line is, and this is taking Mart out for a moment, the conditions, not only the conditions at the platform, which is the MBTA's problem, but also to make sure that this is safe in the interim. But also, and you were there, Selectman Hillman, numerous times when we stood out there over the last 3 years. You were there, and Mark Boyle, who does have some teeth, one of the vice presidents, said that the MBTA was committed to making some improvements during the interim period as we move eventually towards a handicap platform.
Correct.
And we continually say to them ad nauseum to hold them accountable.
And one of the easiest platforms on their line to bring up to handicap standards when the funding is there. And
Right.
I think you both recall that statement as well, based on the length and the topography.
All right, so there's a letter going out to the MBTA. You said it's copying everyone and their mother. Would that include state senators, governor?
State senator's
Governor's
useless,
office, the congresswoman, everyone.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, as you're aware in the Selectmen, your letter to Mart not only went to Mart, you gentlemen have the letter, but it also went to the entire advisory committee out there and so forth about the importance of getting this done.
Robert and I are drafting up a press release to stick in front of the letter, and just we're going to
Good,
send
please,
it out
thank
and
you.
see what sticks.
This needs to get out in the public.
Yeah.
It's shameful that it's not
I
ADA
think,
compliant.
if I could, I think just, and I don't remember exactly which one it was for, but there was a kind of a postcard campaign to, I don't know if it was the mascot board at one time, several years back, probably in
It was the
16 or 15 time frame.
The Air Rail Train Advisory Committee, yes. I do think too.
But they
that-
were getting those types, you know what I mean? So if you give them a campaign
I
of.
sent a missile myself to Warren and Markey, and that tended to, you're right, we need to really, the three of us or whatever, and sit down and just really get some attention.
And so if you guys have any quotes you'd like included. in
Oh,
the
I have
press
several.
release, please get them to us tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Where do you want to start?
They might be pared down.
We never have printable quotes.
Yeah.
We'll have our red pens.
Yeah.
Have a thesaurus.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to placed the new ad in the Central Register on November 29th. It's published on December 5th. And hopefully the pre-bid conference and site visit will be on December 12th, with the filed sub-bid opening on January 9th. General contractor bid opening on January 23rd. Notification of contractor award January 30th. And on February 6th, the notice to proceed to a successful contractor. I read it out loud because it's not in the packet. I want the people to know.
Sure.
With hopeful shovel in ground, spring 2019, not fiscal year, nothing like that. Spring calendar year 2019.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have a successful
Fiscal year
bid.
is great.
And we have a successful bid within the dollar amount. You have no doubt, they will, I mean, again, they're not gonna have a half-built facility, but there will be work completed in 2019 fiscal year.
Oh, I think I heard something like that for 2017, but anyways.
13, 14.
Yeah, and well, you know, I'm only gonna worry about the last couple of years, it's just, so don't tease me, guys. Mark?
So this is the first time I'm seeing this, so I had a couple of questions, one, I don't know, maybe realistic. So the original bids were what, about 6.5 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think by breaking this up into 3 different bids, you're gonna shave 3 million off the?
Yes, I mean, I don't think that's 6.5 million, but I think that-
They're shaving off Depot Square, is
$3
what's shaving
million
off.
is a.
Well, part of the $3 million was because of
So-
the size of the bid. When you gotta go through 3,000 pages, it gets a little intimidating. And the price does go, oh no, I've seen it in the federal
And
government.
if you look at
Same
their
in Western
engineers, it was more than $3.8 million.
Yeah. Wow.
And now we're another year later with tariffs on
Correct.
steel and contractors busy. So what is Plan B when it comes in over your appropriate
When?
funds?
What's your suggestion? We try.
Well, I don't know.
We try to
You have
go
an
to-
engineer that is supposed to be helping you through this process.
Well, I mean,
So I just want.
You guys hired the wrong engineer for this
And
project
that's
from the
my
get-go.
question. So, you know,
Yeah.
I'm looking at, and I'm newer to this whole thing, so I'm not as vested as the other two. However, Weston and Sampson sat on the bid for 18 months.
It was a long time, yeah.
What is their liability in all of this? Because it's a static funding source. However, construction costs and everything else are continuing to rise with inflation. So here we are, how many years later, and we're trying to build something that was shown to us 5 years ago, but it doesn't cost the same as it did 5 years ago. So there has to be, in my opinion, some kind of liability to Weston and Sampson for, one, sitting on it for so long, and two, completely fudging up the last bid process.
So, he's right. He's right. So I know at the last meeting, it was mentioned that you couldn't get rid of them because you could, you know, still have to pay them.
You'd have to
But
represent-
well, there would be that, which that would be a headache in itself. But I would just remember, you know, just remind you that there's probably something in their contract that says, well, for cause, we wouldn't have to pay it. Now, I don't know if this is a cost plus incentive fee type of contract you've got with them, a fixed price, but, you know, I tried to say this last meeting, but I mean, they have dragged their feet, and this unfortunately does reflect on Mark too, because they allowed it.
Were they the lowest
So
bidder?
it's time to light the match
No.
and put it under their butts.
And this is what we did right away. We asked
But
for
you know what?
changing
You know
the
this.
theme.
But you know the sad part is, you should not have to have us tell you that. The light bulb should have gone on a long time ago that there was a problem and that this was taking too long, and you already knew that the Board of Selectmen was upset a year ago, and yet here we are, and we're still upset, and we're still trying to figure this out. We're still now trying to figure out what about a Plan B. I don't even want to hear about a Plan B, to be honest with you. This is so frustrating, okay? But you shouldn't have to have us tell you that it's time to put the light bulb on to at least a 60 watt on everything. Okay, this has become embarrassing. What, Mark?
I have one more comment. I'm assuming on your schedule, you're bidding,
He didn't do anything wrong.
you're breaking out the bid into two contractors. Your earthwork and your.
Yeah, I mean, this is,
And I assume you're bidding them simultaneously?
no, we're bidding earthwork first.
Well, here's my concern.
Yeah.
You bid the earthwork and award that contract, and then you bid the GC and you don't have enough money, and then we're gonna end up with a big pile of dirt.
With no parking.
You know what, we need to find a good CB group, and then just have them come in the dark of the night and say, this is what we need, and tomorrow morning, I swear to God, we'll wake up, it'll be done.
And the other thing that I would like to see is a construction schedule, because we're gonna have to deal with cars parking all over town where this is happening. And I know you've got some ideas that people are gonna be parking up behind the church, but guess what? If I'm a commuter, I'm gonna find somewhere else to
And
park.
it's snowing and it's cold and, yeah.
I'm gonna park in front of someone's house on Pearl Street.
Or in front of Carlin's or whatever business, or the cleaners, or you name it.
So I think that has to be thought through a little bit more. You know, the parking for the rail trail customers, you go there on any day during the summer, and I'm not here on weekends, so I don't see how busy it is on weekends.
You can't park, you can't park.
But on a weekday afternoon, the bike riders are parked all over town.
Yep.
And I think it's, you know, it's only fair that they have a understanding of where they're parked.
Sorry.
Are there any more questions?
No. You know,
I'm beside myself.
Screwed again, so.
Yeah, we're getting hosed.
Oh, it took forever just to even get the Advocates building demolished. I mean, that took way too long. I mean, it just, everything, I mean, again, I've worked in government for a long, long time, and I have never seen anything like this that's moved this slow, even trying to get a rebid. Yes, Mary?
Take a breath. I
No.
wanted to ask a quick question, because believe it or not, we've been discussing this since the late 90s. However, in October of 2003, Mo Khan met with then town administrator Anita Shipers. He wanted to build a parking garage for 350 cars. He said it was going to cost $5 to $7 million, 2003. 2004, we had then Congressman Meehan here, sitting right where Robert's sitting tonight, and said he would apply for the earmark. And then Senator Reeser said she would get the money from the state. She didn't want the townspeople having to put in any money whatsoever. So we've had these meetings. We had
Now we have Jamie, so-
in 2007, I believe, for town meeting for stuff. But we were supposed to be having like 300 to 350 spaces. Now
Right.
we're going to get what, 160? So where the rest are all these people going to park? All over our streets.
Right, and
everywhere.
you know what, and you know, I love going down memory lane, but we're going back too far. But we also had residents complaining about that much parking because it was going to be too tall, it was going to be too big, yada 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 yada. Bottom line is that children have been born, graduated college, and married and had 3 kids. That's how long this project's gone on.
Well, the grandchildren
And
will be coming
it's-
before it's done, so.
It's, I don't, do you need us to go talk to these people? You know?
We are frustrated.
You know, I mean, do you think you can relay exactly the
No,
frustration?
because we,
I did.
Okay.
but we've.
Haven't watched the video
Here's
if
the
they
thing.
want, but I mean, this has got to
We've had
move
conference calls
on.
before this was with the MBTA and MART and the whole dial-in thing that we did when we were first getting this teed up with the issue with Mr. Barry and the access. Where, like, this is where we need to really shine the light on them, the MBTA. Our delegation who sat here, both of them, and spewed on, we all mentioned it, I don't know if you were on the board yet, Scott, I don't think you were, but we all, Janice and I were here, and we both said, the MBTA parking facility, we need your help, we need your help, we need your help, we need your
Right.
help. And like I said, Littleton now 10-year lease for $25,000 a month for 120 spaces.
Yep.
for 3 10-year extensions. So great, they've done that again. They built a $2 million lot over there on private property prior to that, and again, we just are the dumping ground for, and this is not you, Mart, I'm just saying, it's just amazing that we completely get shafted once again,
Yep.
and we're gonna end up with, we're not gonna end up with that. I mean, you can throw that on the ground over one of the potholes if you'd like, over at Depot Square, but we're not gonna end up with that. We're gonna end up with.
There's a good idea. If we had Domino's, Domino's would fill the
Yeah.
bottles. I've seen the commercials.
It's just-
Mr. Gibbons?
Yes, thank you. And I'm sorry, I just came a few minutes ago, but did the ramp design change based on what we did before?
So we don't even know if the project's gonna happen right now. I mean, I don't mean any disrespect.
Yeah,
It's
no, I don't
gone-
believe so.
No, I think everything's
Yeah.
staying the same in
Yeah.
terms of that, if it ever happens. It's just the question.
All right, so I think we've established that we need to go to get a
Bigger.
little bit bigger as far as getting people's attention. So here's my call out to the Ayer residents that watch this video. You need to help us help you. You need to contact your elected officials, the ones that are above the town of Ayer, and let them know that you need their help in getting this project done. That you need their help in getting a hold of MBTA and getting some qualified, fair treatment to the town of Ayer. Any more questions, anyone?
Can we put contact information on the town website, please? Sure. For all of our elected officials, thank you.
Thank you.
Just to
I
make it
think it's
easier.
there.
So make it bigger.
Got it?
We do it as an announcement. So it's-
I might send my own email as a private citizen too. From
Well, we know
direct.
that, that's like understood, so
Yeah.
anyways. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Keep us posted.
Yeah, good for you.
You have a good evening.
Thank you. We'll be in touch. Bruno, thank you. We'll be in touch.
I understand your frustration.
And please bring Weston and Sampson the next time too, because
Yeah.
they should be
Oh,
present.
they're too scared.
Yeah.
And they
And I
should.
hope you haven't paid him in full.
Yeah, I sent them your message last.
Yeah, and they're not,
Exactly.
yeah.
Word by word.
All right, good. And I thank you.
Trust me, September 5th, they got the same earful plus more of what we just got.
Really?
Okay.
Oh, yes. The whole room full.
Did you show them the radio?
Eh,
Show them the video. Tell them, you know
I got them-
what?
I
Tell
got them
them,
the video.
tell them you don't want me there, okay? I have coworkers who will tell you that.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Robert,
Madam Chair, members of the board,
Please make it quick.
good
before I slit
evening.
my wrists.
You have in my
Amazing.
report the warrants that have been reviewed and approved. In terms of just a brief on the update, we are moving along with the budget calendar as set forth by the board. As you heard, we will be doing the,
could I just interrupt
Yeah.
because you just reminded me of something
Yeah.
and I'll forget it in something. We got to set up the water and sewer rate committee meeting. Thank you very much. Okay.
yep. So we are on track, as mentioned, the September 25th, we will have the setting the tax rate forum. Additionally, I know later Selectman Hood will speak to the first by-board meeting. Also, I sent to the board, and these are hard copies, just real quick. This is an update of the FY 2019 capital projects. The capital process is scheduled to start with the materials going out on October 1st, and then the deadline of November 2nd for departments to get their updated plans back. In talking to various members informally of the committee, including the chair, Selectman Hillman, obviously many of the plans, most of the capital plan for all of the departments is already in place, so it's a matter of, updating and so forth, and it will be a very conservative approach taken towards capital. And as you can see from this update, there are a lot of good projects, and there are a lot of projects that are underway in various stages and so forth, but there is a lot on the town's plate. So there's an update. If you have questions on that, let me know, but we are moving.
So we should take a year off from capital, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm dead serious.
Yeah, I mean.
Unless it's needed.
Yeah, the committee, as we've been.
Emergency stuff.
Yeah, we've
you
been
know?
conveying to the departments, or I have been, that it will be a very conservative take towards capital, obviously prioritizing any emergencies or unforeseen, but as you can see,
We don't need any fire trucks or any trucks.
you have a lot of things in progress. So more to come on that. I intend to do a periodic update like this. It's been sent to the Capital Planning Committee and to FinCom as well on the status of the projects.
Was the building the inspector's car on here? Wasn't that on?
Oh, the building inspector commission does have his car.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, no,
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
No, no, I just
that-
remember
that
I
is
didn't
not
see it
on
on
that.
there.
You waited that long?
And the other thing that was inadvertently left off, that was the voting machines by the
Oh,
town
yeah.
clerk.
Okay, yep.
So we'll send that in a separate email.
Oh, no, no, that's fine,
tomorrow.
I just dawned on me that was part of capital.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great.
So, anyway, and then, of course, we've been in preparation for the field project and the election and all of that. So in the interest of time, I'll cut to the action items. The first one is a recommendation from myself and the fire chief. We have 2 surplus ambulance cots. As the board is aware, we've acquired new ambulances over the years, and we found out that there's this company, JJJ Stretchers, 3 J's, that is interested in buying them. They have no use to the town, but we have an opportunity to get $3,000 for the 2 of them. So I'm respectfully recommending that the
Can
board,
we, general fund, or can we use it to patch potholes in Depot Square?
as Selectman Hillman, as you know, it'll go to the ambulance enterprise. But I'm just asking the board, requesting the vote to declare it surplus and to be sold for $3,000.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Motion passes.
So as one of my goals, this board's goals, and the master plan goals is the whole ADA plan. So the next items I have, we are making progress on the ADA plan. We're actually applying for a planning grant that's due on October 1st to assist us in completing it. The first thing that I'm requesting is that the board needs to update its appointment of the ADA coordinator, which is the town manager and has been. So I'm respectfully requesting that the board vote to approve, to appoint me as the ADA coordinator, the town manager, and there's a form in the packet that is to be signed by the chair and myself.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The second thing, and that's a requirement not only for the grant but for the plan, the second thing is the town's grievance procedure, ADA grievance procedure, which is in your packet, also has to be updated and reaffirmed by the Board of Selectmen. The grievance procedure is basically the one in your packet, is the standard one that almost all towns use, and upon your approval, it has to be posted like in Kevin's office, payroll benefits, and other public places, that if somebody has an ADA complaint, this is the process that you will follow. You'll see that in the policy that the initial point of contact in almost most cases is actually the building commissioner, because the building commissioner oversees all of the town buildings and so forth. So the initial, if in most cases, the initial complaint would be filed with the building commissioner, and then the process would move up to myself. So again, we've had this in place for so long, there has been no real changes to it, but we need a re-vote of the procedure by the board.
I see a motion just for the grievance procedure.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to approve the ADA grievance procedure as presented.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Thank you.
One small thing, it looks like there's 2 different fonts in the
There
separate
is,
packet.
we will correct
Okay.
that. Yep. Yep. And then,
It's annoying.
just, I'll sign it, I'll sign it, I'll sign it.
I can't help it. It's those
I
things,
know
I
you
notice
can't.
those,
I
you
get
know?
it. I'm an aesthetics freak.
So
You're a
we
font freak.
We will have another update as we move forward with the ADA process. As I've mentioned, myself and Ms. Antonellis Mr. Minoyan, town planner, and Alicia Hersey, who's done a lot of work I'm appreciative of on this process, is sort of our internal group moving this forward. The next item, because it is coming up quick, is the fall town meeting warrant. The board is scheduled to approve it on October the 2nd. We'll have a draft to you for your next meeting, but I wanted to give an update as the items. One of them you heard from Superintendent Wetzel on this evening is the curb opening, the driveway opening bylaw. Also, there is going to be an article to amend the zoning bylaw. These are some of the additional items. The zoning bylaw has been updated, as the board knows, by town meeting in March. But there are some additional things that both the building commission and the town planner would like to put forth. You'll get that detail, like I said, for the next meeting, but that's one of them. The other one is an article, as the board's aware, to accept portions of Norwood Avenue as a public way, and I understand that the planning board tonight approved that, so it'll be coming back to the board to go onto the warrant. Also, as mentioned tonight, the debt exclusion article for the field project, assuming it passes, that would be an article, requires a 2/3 vote. And there's also a proposed article for the acceptance of a gift of land on Hemlock Drive from the Ridgeview Realty Trust as a portion of land that they are not going to use in that development that would be of value to the town for some infrastructure purposes for the DPW, and we'll have obviously a map and some more detail for you. So the warrant is open until September the 28th as a citizen's petitions. This is sort of a synopsis of what we're looking at coming into the fall as of today, and that could change.
Okay.
And that sort of concludes my items this evening. If there are any questions that the board has, I would be happy to answer.
Can't think of any.
None right now.
All right. All right, Scott.
All right. So just to bring everyone up to date, so the BI board met back on August 21st, and just so everyone knows, it's members of the Finance Committee, town manager, town accountant, plus myself from the Board of Selectmen. So we looked at the calendar, we presented it to the group. It was well received, discussed some of the challenges we may have with the timeline being moved ahead, but everyone seems to be in agreement that it's worthwhile trying the earlier timeline. We discussed the budget model. So in the past, I've run my own budget model separate from what the town or the finance manager has been running, so we're going to let her own that, and we're going to make some changes to it. So we want to include some more detail around some of the numbers. Just as an example, when you look at police in the budget, it's a very large number, and we want to break that out so people can see what makes up that number in a separate tab within the budget model. We discussed also trying to set a maximum budget once we get our revenue estimates put together, and then building in a contingency amount so that we can work around any of the late changes that we always seem to have as we get towards town meeting. Ultimately, this also led to the conversation. Ultimately, my goal is, which I've talked to Robert a couple of times, is to put together a budget book, something other communities do. Northborough is one. They actually have an award-winning budget book that is extensive information about the community, the departments, how the budget process works, how your taxes are set, and it's around 400 pages. But we're going to start small, and we have a short list of things we want to start pulling together for the next fiscal year, and then we'll just keep building on it as we go. Last piece that was discussed at the BI board was the school field project. At that point, Ayer Finance Committee was going to be meeting up with Shirley Finance Committee regarding Shirley Finance Committee's alternative proposal. However, I will update that the last Finance Committee meeting, they opted not to discuss that, and they just moved forward without any comment on that. And that sums up the buy board for August 21st. We'll be setting the next meeting shortly, and that'll have a little more substance to it as we start the budget process.
Okay. That's the most info we've ever gotten for a buy board meeting.
I knew you were going to say that.
Happy to reply.
I'm actually starting to look forward to these updates. All right.
Do you want to do your
Yeah, I was going to say,
survey while you're on a roll?
can he do his survey?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we tabled the survey, the survey regarding the transfer station hours until after summer. So here we are in the fall. I wanted to just bring it up again and see if we're ready to put it out there. And I had asked if Mark Wetzel had looked at it and had any comments. So I don't know, is there any details we could provide on like Mark's comments or anything?
Did you see it in the packet?
It's in the packet.
Well,
Comment.
So that's the one comment?
MW1, options A, B, and C will all result in
Okay.
additional costs for question 3.
Okay.
Okay. So, each one of those questions should probably have note, this will incur additional cost written after the end.
All right.
I do have a question. Will there be, on any part of the survey to like even say, for a resident to be able to say, hey, we want it to go back to the original hours that were set, I guess, I don't know what year.
So my experience doing surveys within the town is to try and keep it to just a set questions. I can talk to Cindy. She's generally helped me do the surveys in the past on SurveyMonkey. We could do a commentary section.
Yeah.
Just a free-form commentary field where people could put,
Don't give if that's possible, don't give them too many characters. It'll be a run-on sentence. It'll be a run-on sentence.
I'll have to see if we can limit the characters. But
Yeah.
yes, we can incorporate something
Yeah.
along those lines.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of surveys because I think you get, and then you get the people, well, I didn't know there was a survey. We know how that goes.
Yeah, you get all of that.
We're going to research, I mean, obviously, this is going to be part of negotiations on another contract, but we're going to look at other towns that have transfer stations and see, I'm assuming, as part of our, not just the survey, but separate, like, how it works in other communities that have Acton, Littleton, what they do for hours, because I know they're all...
Lori Nearing had sent me her file
Right.
from
Yeah.
the meeting.
Yeah, you gave it to us.
Because some towns have late hours one night, like Town Hall, open until 7 on Tuesdays,
Right.
and not open on Sundays, but open
Well,
until 6 on
if
Saturdays.
you look at that too, this is where Mark is saying
Yeah.
those options will all result in additional costs in this survey. So that's why we're saying that note would have to be added, just to kind of give people aware. But we're still got to go into negotiations.
Yeah, I mean, it might cost extra cost, but I mean, if it's doing a better service to the community, then...
Madam Chair, maybe we missed it because it was so basic, but do you think a question should be, are you a current user of the transfer station? Just so we get some...
That's actually a very good
Yes.
That's a good question.
Because I would answer the survey, and that would be the first thing. I'm not, so I
Yeah.
can't speak on...
Maybe we could just add that as number 1 and push the rest.
And for me, I'm not, because it's not convenient, because of
Right.
various things, but that would be
Right.
the reason I would answer the survey. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. We'll add that.
And lastly, Madam Chair, agreed, I think going into the negotiations, having the results of this survey, we know that there was a citizen's petition, granted not binding, but the more information
Absolutely.
we have and the more alternatives, the whole goal is to maximize the service experience. And that will help the case.
Right. So when do you hope to get this up and running?
Do you both want to see a final version before it goes live? Would be my question.
Well, I'm thinking that you're going to basically probably add that little note, and you're going to add the number 1 she just mentioned. So you got at least the 4 questions. I'm good.
All right. I'll start working with Cindy and Carly this week.
And then how long do you hope to run it once you get it?
Probably 2 weeks is usually a good time frame.
Okay. Last time we did one, I think we ran it for like 30 days.
There was
I'm open to
Yeah.
suggestions.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
one we did for 30 days.
I think Cindy will work with you as far as
Okay.
we'll leave it to you and Cindy.
All right.
She's out at a conference for the next two, but we can regroup early next
All right.
week.
No problem.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, good job, Scott.
Thank you.
All right, Selectman Hillman.
I'm sorry, I'm so frustrated by Mark. What do I
You're
have on there?
always frustrated.
Oh,
The planning board update.
So, I attended the beginning of the planning board meeting, and I hate to say, I don't know how it ended up upstairs regarding the sidewalks. As you know, around the table, I was quite dismayed at the former chairman, who has since resigned, basically pushing aside our recommendation that we had talked about at the previous meeting, and let him know. It seemed to be a good dialogue up there with the new board in terms of sidewalks, turning lanes. They were in a brief recess to Global was discussing offers or whatever, so I'm not quite sure how it ended up. Something that I did take away from it, based on what Scott was saying, I think a meeting, almost like a by-board with a member of the board or with the planning board moving forward, would be possibly something to consider on projects like this. I mentioned it, live up there, but it doesn't have to be all the time. But I mean, we're kind of late to the party on this global thing, and it's not our purview.
Global's been around since like 2013.
Yeah, but I mean, like the whole sidewalks and that
Right.
side of the street, and I don't know. I think it would.
Like a planning by board.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't have to be monthly, but I mean, I think it would behoove both boards, because ultimately, the person who was the issue is now gone. I think this board wants to do the right thing.
How about as part of departmental review, when we get one, we can email it to you guys?
Yeah,
Say,
yeah,
"Do you
or
have
just,
comment?"
and then,
We all
exactly.
get to see it, but
Yeah, and if,
from
yeah,
us, even zoning board stuff, like you want
Yeah.
a 2-foot variance or whatever, obviously that's at a smaller level, but we can send them out so you see everything in land use. We'll send an email out with a plan attached to it if you want to take a look.
yeah, because I
And
think,
comment.
I think,
Yeah, that would be good.
I think the
That process. is
previous
already in
boards have
place.
sold us
Yeah.
short on what we as a town are here for, is to get the best possible deal and what we can for the town of Ayer, not what Global Montello is gonna save in money, or New England Superconductor, or Sawyer, or whatever. So, being on the same page, I think, might be helpful. And maybe you
Yeah.
can update us tomorrow on, I know that the planning board was looking for an extension tonight
Yeah,
for
we'll
the
find
turning
out, and I'll let the board
and the
know.
sidewalks,
And
but,
through the chair, I think those are two good ideas, having like some kind of planning by board, at least on the big projects, so.
yeah,
And as Ms. Antonella said also, we can loop the board in on the review process.
correct, yeah. And it seemed that, why am I, you point at him.
On the sidewalk coming from the gas station, they're only going to Markham Circle.
Did you go upstairs after?
I tried to push them,
Did you go upstairs tonight, though? Because we pushed back tonight, this evening, and said that, it was to be a good neighbor, you want children and people, and I explained to the planning board at their meeting that once Global's built their facility, whether, if the planning board just relents and says you only have to go to Markham Circle and you don't need a turning lane, when we do need a turning lane and we do need sidewalks, it's gonna be us, the taxpayers, paying for it, not Global Montello. So now is their chance to push the issue, and,
if they only go to Markham Circle, those people are gonna be walking in the road.
I agree, and Superintendent Wetzel and myself had expressed that, and now members of the planning board, Mr. Gibbons, argued different, that this was a significant cost, which I could care less. So they were, when I finally came down at 7:30, they were holding a recess to see if, so that was the argument we made this evening, that it has to go to the Rotary, along with the turning lane. The turning lane, it seemed to be a no-brainer, and they were arguing against it. Basically, they had a third-party review that said there needs to be a turning lane heading into Harvard, into the gas station, so there's not people driving up on the, There, of course, hired gun said, oh, no, we don't need that. That's not a busy road, we don't need a turning lane. And our planning board, hopefully, I will probably have an aneurysm if I find out that they relented and said that they did need a turning lane, so I'm hoping to hear good things. I made my point very clear.
Good.
So, anyways, that's it
well,
with that, and hopefully we get
here's
some good
hoping.
neast tomorrow.
That global Montel thing's that's been going on since 2013. It's just been a bone of contention.
At least we'll pave the parking lot, unlike Mark.
I'm so
Will they
tired.
be tying into the town sewage?
No, that's a septic.
The septic out there, yeah, septic, yeah.
Alrighty then. Anything else?
We're meeting again next Tuesday, so we can. We're good, right?
Right. All right, so we have before us, so somehow we had missed approving the June 29th, 2017 meeting minutes. So we're approving those now. I looked them over. I actually kind of remember that meeting. So I'm saying they look good, and I'm recommending approval of the June 29th, 2017 meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from Thursday, June 29th, 2017 as presented.
What you made us?
Oh, all those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
I wasn't here, but aye.
It's okay.
Do we have a second?
That's what I was confused about. I was going to say second, and I thought you said second.
I thought he said
He
second.
recommended it, he moved it, so we need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Scott
Well,
seconded.
you mumbled.
You called a vote.
Because
Second.
you started mumbling, for God's sakes. You take over. You come in late and you take over, for God's
Second.
sake. All those in favor of approving the Thursday, June 29th, 2017 meeting minutes?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Honestly, we get a little tired, especially after we've been frustrated. All right.
I hate it.
We also have before us the Tuesday, August 14th, 2018 meeting minutes. They look fine to me. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for August 14th, 2018 as presented.
I'll second. Okay, it's been seconded.
Yeah, she did. I am the tiger.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting minute, chair says aye, the meeting minutes for August 14th are approved. All right. Good God, what a long night. All
I
right,
got 10 minutes.
so now I would like a motion to move the board into, we're adjourning from open session and going into executive session, or are we recessing? What's the word?
A motion to go into executive session.
Okay, that's all we're doing, all right. Making a motion for the Board of Selectmen to enter executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, for exemption, to review and approval of various executive session minutes, and exemption number 3, litigation strategy, tax status of 139-141 Littleton Road. To do so in open session would be detrimental to any possible litigation strategy.
And to adjourn.
And to adjourn.
And then to adjourn from executive session.
So moved. Or is that, do I need a second?
Okay,
Second.
just say it, second, just say it.
Second.
All those in favor to move into executive session? Scott?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Good night, everyone, we're in executive session.